For this run, I'll need to defeat 66 mini bosses, 14 full moon bosses, and a final boss that has 14 phases. And this will all need to be done without making a single mistake. Or I'll have to restart from the very beginning. Persona 3 Reload is often criticized for being an easy game, even on its highest difficulty. Though it can be true sometimes, Persona 3 Reload is unforgiving. One mistake against a boss or even against small enemies will end in your death or your teammates' deaths. And thanks to the one more system, it can all happen in just one turn, giving you no time to react. This isn't a problem normally. You could just reload your last save and give it another shot. But what if you couldn't reload your last save? And you made a simple mistake like forgetting to swap your persona to one that's not weak to wind, and this results in your whole team dying. Now you have to start this 100-hour JRPG from the very beginning. This is what it's like to hardcore Nuzlocke Persona 3 Reload. The Nuzlocke rule set comes from the Pokemon games and is the most infamous rule set in the gaming community. Nearly everyone knows the challenge, even if they are not particularly into Pokemon, and there's a reason for that. It's difficult, it's time consuming, and it requires dedication and a level of mental fortitude that most will not or just don't want to dedicate to completing a challenge like this. This is all due to its very simple but brutal rule set. I've put the rules on screen here. Feel free to pause if you're curious about the original rule set. We will be adapting the rule set to Persona 3 Reload, however. The rules are as following. First, if a party member goes down, they can't be revived. They're no longer able to participate in battles for the rest of the game, and for all intents and purposes are dead. If the protagonist Makoto dies, the run is over, the attempt is failed, and we must restart from the very beginning of the game, no matter how close we are to the end. Second, we have to name the protagonist something different for each attempt of this run. This is so we can keep track of our attempts. Third, we'll need to play with all random personas. We can only capture the first persona we encounter in each section of Tartarus. Whichever persona comes first in shuffle time is who will accompany us for the rest of the run. We are limited to just one persona per section. We're allowed to fuse personas since they're kind of like evolutions, but summoning personas is not allowed. Fourth, a level cap is in place. None of our party members' levels can exceed the level of the next full moon boss. If a party member's level is past the level cap, they cannot participate in battle. If Makoto's level is higher than the cap, we need to go back to an older save, and if that's not possible, we need to restart the entire run. And the final rule, we can't use any items in battle. These last few are my own rules. We're playing on Merciless, no New Game Plus, no DLC personas, and lastly, once I've started a Guardian or Full Moon boss fight, there is no reloading saves. I am stuck in the fight for better or for worse. This rule set is very cruel, and this is the story of how I attempted the hardest challenge run of Persona 3 Reload that I can think of.
Thirsty for blood, action craving for love. What you only want is dumb. Green makes you go numb. Slowly blocking good thoughts. Hey, please, doctor, doctor's about to be that patient, cause I'm about to knock him out cold. Bring it back, please. Whole lot of moves I make on you like dance for. And during this beatdown, you probably wish that you could fast forward. Don't you worry, Ben, I'll say some room for your last words. After we do this, do that, and the third. Disturbing the pace, look into my eyes, and tell me the things you're blubbing about behind my back. The tenacity I hold, it's hard to break down. It's too late for apologies. Let's go. Some things may break me, but I'll always get back up. New perspective,
I'll go with
Chapter 1, The Slippery Slope. This is going to be a massive endeavor. Persona 3 Reload can take anywhere between 60 to 100 hours to complete. There's 66 required TARDIS Guardian mini-bosses, 14 required Full Moon bosses, with the final boss having 14 phases. And that's not even mentioning the 52 different types of shadows you'll encounter throughout the game. A failed attempt of this run would be devastating, and all it takes is one small mistake. I think of this run as one long climb up a slippery slope. One misstep, one slip up, and I am at the bottom of the slope, climbing up again. There are so many things that can go wrong in this run. I've spent days planning out the different possibilities and mistakes I need to watch out for, but I still feel like I'm missing something, and quite frankly, I'm having doubts about this run. I don't think this is something that I can even complete. My friend Legendary has recently completed one of the most insane runs of Persona 3 that I've seen. He completed it without using any personas. He has a ton of hours and game knowledge on Persona 3, so I decided to call him up and get some advice. Here's a little of what he had to say. Where do you think I would die? Like if I were to die on my first attempt, where do you think would probably be like my first problem?
Okay, on the first Tartarus fight, right? Like the birds, right? I can already see a problem on the birds.
The ruthless ravens?
Yeah, because they're weak to fire, right? But most likely, like, you can't really, like, because you say, is there fusion? Are you allowed fusion?
Yeah, I am allowed to fuse, but I can't summon. So if I fuse, I like straight up just you lose that person.
Exactly, you fuse whatever you grab. So I can easily see a death, like right there. Like just on the first I mean, the Ravens hit with a group party Mabufu, so like that's a lot of damage. Like, I don't know, bro. Yeah, yeah. Well, the worst part is this. See, you would probably win that fight without the proper element, but like you wouldn't come out of there with 2 party members alive. Like most likely, only Makoto would live. So then, even then, you're screwed anyway. Because you still have to like.
I might as well reset, bro.
Exactly. Like you might as well just reset. Like it's cooked. It is kind of cooked.
Okay. I know you said a little bit about this already. Is this something that like I should even be attempting? And like yeah, I know you.
This is definitely doable. Yeah, this is definitely doable.
Okay, it's just gonna be ass.
It's just gonna be ass. Yeah, I mean, you really have to make sure you also get like I believe skill cards will carry you.
We spent some time just talking about the run, and turns out there was a lot that I was missing. The conversation really boosted my confidence though, and now I feel like I have everything that I need to start. This attempt and every attempt will be completed on Merciless difficulty. Our first protagonist and hopefully last protagonist of this run will be called Can't Catch Him, since he has no idea what's going on. After getting settled into my new life as a high school student, I awakened to the power of my persona, awarding me my first persona, Orpheus. Orpheus is insanely versatile this early on. He gets access to Agi, Bash, Dia, and Tarunda. I have all of my bases covered. I have a physical and a magic attack, a heal, and even a debuff. Orpheus alone can get us to the first floors of Tartarus, even if we get unlucky with RNG. During the tutorial, we're also given another free persona, Asparis. Though not as useful as Orpheus, she does get Posture and Baisudi. These skills can cure any status ailments you run into. We technically did go to Thebel to get this encounter, but in Nuzlocke's, forced encounters are free and don't count towards your random encounters. After the tutorial, we're given free reign to do whatever we want. Right now, our first target and the next full moon boss is the Priestess. We'll have to fight her on May 9th and her level is 11, so our level cap until we defeat her is level 11. And if you're new to Persona games, Persona is kind of like 2 games in 1. By day, you spend your time doing regular things a high school student will do, like hanging out with friends and working at a coffee shop. Then by night, you're exploring Tartarus, a huge dungeon where you hunt shadows like a badass. What you do during the day really matters though. All the different activities you can do affect how well you'll perform in combat during the night. I spent a lot of time just really thinking through what's going to be most important for this run. For now, the main goal is to get our courage stat to level 2. This will give us access to Escapade. In Escapade, you can buy some powerful accessories. The most important is the Earrings of Grit that give you Endure. On April 23rd, we take our first dive into Tartarus. We need to get to the top of Tartarus before the end of the game. There are 256 floors amongst 6 blocks that are divided into 10 sections. The 10 sections is what's most important for this run. You gain access to a new section after each full moon, so in general, it's a good idea to get to the highest floor you can before the next full moon. During the full moon, you'll need to defeat a big, bad boss shadow. After that, you get access to the next section and you repeat the process. These sections are separated by border floors. To get to the border floor at the top of each section, you usually have to defeat around 3 to 5 mini-bosses, depending on the section. And sometimes you have to fight them back to back. 10 sections means we get 10 random personas on top of the 2 free ones we got earlier. Put simply, every time we defeat a full moon boss and open a new section, we can get a new persona, but only one. To get our next persona, we'll have to wait until we unlock the next section. In the first section, we got Pixie. I'm like 90% sure this is scripted. You'll almost always get Pixie in this first section of Tartarus, and I'm okay with this. Now that I have my first encounter, my first hurdle will be the Ruthless Ice Ravens. Although the Ruthless Ice Ravens are the first mini-boss, they can easily wipe out the entire party. There are 2 ravens that hit very hard and can both attack the whole party at once with Mabufu. One cast of Mabufu alone will get the entire party to half HP. If we're unlucky and they attack back to back, everyone is dead and will need to reset. So we need to end this fight as soon as possible. I grinded the team's levels up to level 5, which gives Junpei Agi, allowing both him and I to target the Raven's weaknesses. When you target a weakness, you can act many times in a row before the enemy can. This allowed us to defeat the Ice Ravens before they could double Mabufu us. It was still pretty scary though. Yukari got very low in the fight and could have easily died. Losing Yukari this early on would mean we need to reset. She's the only healer we have for a long time and is the strongest healer in the game. And since we don't have the ability to use healing items in battle, she is our only way to heal. There is no way we're getting through this run without her. We spent some more time grinding small shadows to get more XP and money. Even something as simple as killing small shadows is dangerous in this run. I go into every encounter with extreme caution, because just like how we can target weaknesses, shadows can target our weaknesses as well. And if a shadow targets a weakness, they can go multiple times in a row and kill any one of our party members before we even have a chance to react. The AI in Persona 3 Reload also has no problem with hard targeting one party member and hitting them multiple times in a row until they die. So I have a spreadsheet up that I refer to know all of the enemy's attacks and weaknesses beforehand. And if I think there's even a chance of anyone dying, we block until we can escape. We then defeated the Swift Axel by exploding their weakness. I still haven't hit the level cap yet though, and I have another boss to defeat, but I'm low on SP, so I have to come back another day. I upgraded the party's equipment and finally got enough courage to unlock Escapade. I took a look at the earrings with Endure and we're not even close to being able to afford it. It costs 200,000 yen, and we have 2,000, so it'll be a long time before we can grab the earrings. The earrings are really good though. They let us tank a hit that would normally kill us, although it does leave us with 1 HP. I could, in theory, grind a lot to get the earrings, but the issue is my level cap. I would hit the level cap long before I even got close to making 200,000 yen. I can alternatively just farm chests for money and items, then sell the items. This way I won't exceed my level cap, and I do this a lot this run since money is so important for us, especially later when we can use the money for incense. But there is a finite number of chests in Tartarus, and I would have to take multiple trips, wasting many precious days before the May 9th deadline. So the earrings will have to wait. On May 2nd, I went back to Tartarus to finish what I started. This Guardian battle and every other battle in this run requires precise planning. Before going into any boss, I need to know all of their attacks, and I need to compare them to the personas in my party. This is so the Swift Axel doesn't give us a swift trip back to the title screen and that new game button. Swift Axel can use wind attacks, which Junpei is weak to, so Junpei will have to guard for the whole battle. You might be asking why I don't just leave Junpei out of the battle. Well, the truth is, he's a good shield. The more the Swift Axel targets Junpei, the better. When a party member blocks, their weaknesses can't be targeted and they take less damage. Makoto was able to act freely and Pixie carried us through the fight. She let us use Zio to take out the Swift Axel while Yukari kept everyone up. After that, I went back to the lower floors and grinded up to our level cap of 11 and left for the night. May 9th is around the corner, and we need to figure out what we're going to do to defeat the priestess. She takes the most damage from fire attacks and has a very hard-hitting ice attack. So we need a persona that can resist ice and can use Agi. Pixie is weak to ice. She is immediately off the table. That is just bad news. Asparis resists ice, but she only knows Bufu. She'll do exactly 0 damage to the priestess. Orpheus knows Agi and Tarunda, a must-have for this fight, but doesn't resist ice. Ideally, we'd want to give Asparis Agi, but I didn't get lucky enough to find the skill card. Plus, I already hit my level cap, so no more combat for me until the priestess. So Orpheus is who we'll need to depend on. I did find armor that resists freeze that I can wear, but I really think it should go to Yukari. She is so squishy and she is vital to this run. I'm not sure how I feel about this fight. I've never beaten the priestess without Jack Frost, and up until now I've been convinced it's not doable without him. We'll just have to see. Chapter 2. Overconfidence. I think about this run a lot, even when I'm not working on the run. I know any slip up would be devastating, so I'm constantly thinking over every decision I'm going to make. And I just can't help but think of Icarus. Icarus' story is a long one, but here's the short version. Icarus was given a pair of wax wings to fly. He was given one warning: don't fly too close to the sun. But because of his ambition and pride, he flew as close as he could to the sun. And then he burned up and fell in the ocean and drowned. It's a cautionary tale against being too ambitious. Sometimes I think there's no such thing as being too ambitious, but I think this run is going to prove me wrong. And I think I'm going to crash, burn, and drown in the ocean. Maybe at the first boss fight. Who knows? May 9th is here and I am nervous. I really could see myself wiping here. The first thing you should know about this fight is that her favorite move hits like a Mack truck or ice cream truck. Whatever. Ice Storm is her scariest move and you can easily kill us. It can take anywhere from 40 to 60% of all of our party members' HP at once. So as soon as I get the chance, I used to rune it on her to decrease her attack's effectiveness. She will summon minions later though. One Ice Storm and one minion attack is enough to kill a full HP party member. She also has a timer. I know it says 30 minutes, but it's bullshit. After lowering her health bar, she'll use Invitation to Chaos, which cuts the timer in half, and she'll do this multiple times. The timer in reality is more like 10 minutes. And if we don't defeat her before the 10 minutes, we will all die and the run is over. No pressure, right? Oh god. Because her Ice Storm hits so hard, we have Yukari healing everyone up to full HP, even if they're close to full HP, because that can change very quickly in this fight. And under no circumstances is anyone using physical skills. This consumes HP and can easily put them in one-shot range from a high damage roll Ice Storm. But with this strategy, the fight went really well. The fight was going so well that I got overconfident. At approximately 30% HP, the Priestess won't attack. Instead, she'll use Invitation to Chaos one last time. So being the asshole that I am, I swapped to Pixie, who is weak to ice, so that I can target a minion's weakness just to get one more free attack in on the Priestess. I also forgot to reapply Tarunda to her this turn, so if I'm wrong and she doesn't use Invitation to Chaos, I'm dead. I'm 10 hours into this run and I put all this progress on the line for just a little bit of extra damage, but it worked out and the Priestess is dead. This only boosted my confidence, which I can now say is a bad thing. Back in student life, exams are coming soon. These are really important for us. If you perform well on exams, Mitsuru will give you incense that you can use to increase your persona's stats. Until I unlock the antique store, this is the only way I have to increase my companion's persona's stats. I want as many of these incenses as I can get, so increasing my academic stat is a priority for the rest of this run. Aside from that, I'll be using most of my time to increase my own persona stats at the arcade. Many of my personas will be with me from the very beginning of this game until the end, so improving their stats is going to be necessary for this run's success. I'm not going to be fusing much because I can't summon personas after they've been fused, and I'll need every persona I can get for Nyx. Since it's unlikely I'll get max social links personas in endgame, social links aren't very important to us either. If there's a persona I want to fuse later on, I'll work on their corresponding social link. I have to wait until May 23rd before exploring the next block of Tartarus. This is when Akihiko will join the party. We don't want to level everyone else up without him. It'll cause an issue where he won't be able to hit the level cap, or even worse, Makoto will reach the level cap and no one else can increase their level. As far as I know, there isn't a way to decrease your level or stop yourself from receiving XP, so I have to very carefully manage my XP. I'm always keeping an eye on the XP left section in our status menu. With the next section open, I can go grab my next persona encounter. There is a small problem with this rule though. I have to grab whatever persona comes first in shuffle time. The personas you get from Tartarus get better the higher up you go. So if I always get the first persona from the lowest floor that I can, I will always get the worst and lowest level persona from that section, which will make this run even more difficult than it already is. If I want the best persona possible, I need to grab it from the highest floor in the section. But that means we can't trigger shuffle time at all until we get to the highest block. Shuffle time is more likely to occur if you target weaknesses. So if I don't target weaknesses, can I make it to the top without triggering shuffle time? Well, not exactly. There's still a small chance that shuffle time would trigger. If I want to avoid shuffle time, I have to avoid combat completely. I'll need to run past every single enemy until I get to the top floor. The problem is, I still have guardian bosses to defeat on the way up. I would have to defeat them while being incredibly underleveled. This is so risky and will likely end in my death, and since the most common thing to come out of my mouth is "f it," I was ready to do this, but thanks to Legendary, we have an alternate way. He recommended we just go to the highest floor possible before the next guardian boss and grab a persona from there. A much more intelligent idea. That's what we did, and I got an Archangel. A pretty good encounter, I think. We now have a light attack, which we didn't have before, and he resists slash damage. The only thing I don't like about him is that he has the same weaknesses as Orpheus. Our team isn't very well rounded when it comes to weaknesses. I went into the next guardian boss without grinding much and without triple checking all of their attacks, and almost paid the price for it. I nearly lost everyone in this battle. Just look at how close they all were to death. At this point, I was able to recover from this and not die due to pure luck. It was totally out of my hands. I should never have taken that risk, and it was such a stupid and unnecessary risk too. This run is all about risk management, and there are risks we'll be forced to take that could end the run, but that doesn't mean we need to take unnecessary risks. There's still about 50 more Guardian bosses left, and if I keep acting this confident and dumb, I won't be as lucky as I was just now. So from here on out, I'm going to get as close to level cap as I can before attempting any Guardian bosses. I do have to leave a level or two as a buffer since all the Guardian bosses give a lot of XP. When I grind, I still need to be very cautious. In the higher floors of this block, you can find Phantom Mages and a lot of them. They have insta-kill attacks. The way it works is, they use the attack, a roll is made, and if you fail the roll, you die. That's it. If you're weak to the element of the insta-kill move, it's a guaranteed death. You can counter this with homunculi, but they're pretty rare right now, so I just need to go to the lower floors of this block to train up. It takes longer, but no one will be killed by insta-kill cheese. With my levels, I plow through the rest of the Guardian bosses except for one, the Clairvoyant Relic. He is an absolute menace, and defeating him is simple, but he hits very hard. I've never gone through a fight with him without someone dying, so I decided to get to the level cap of 18 and not go to the end of the section. Completing a block isn't required to progress right now, it's just recommended. I skip out on hitting border floors often so I can grind skill cards. I purposely completed Tartarus as early as possible so that I can have all the money I needed to go to the arcade to boost Orpheus' stats, and to spend the rest of the month duplicating skill cards at the shrine. Skill cards are what's going to make this run possible. They'll allow us to teach skills to our personas that they normally don't have. Since our personas are random and we have no clue what they'll have, this is our only way to get any skills we need. On June 8th, the next full moon bosses, the Emperor and Empress, are upon us. They have a simple mechanic. They have only one weakness each and are immune to everything else. They can switch to this weakness at will, but lucky for us, their weaknesses always start the same and follow a specific order. They both start with Pierce and Zeo as their weaknesses. But how are we going to target all of their weaknesses? We have a group of random personas that don't cover every element. I'll let you in on a little secret. This fight was won long before June 8th. Earlier this month, I taught Orpheus almost every element, and now we can target any weakness. It's a scuffed build, but a necessary one. And Archangel covers all physical attacks, so all that's left is to bully them with a long chain of all-out attacks and give them the SEES special. I normally go to Tartarus as soon as possible after a full moon, but I decided to wait a bit instead because on June 14th, we unlock Theurgies. These are super strong attacks that charge up in various ways, but it's pretty much the only strong thing in our toolkit right now. I grinded a little bit and then went straight to the Clairvoyant Relic. We're over leveled for him and he still almost killed Yukari. This is because he's the first boss we encounter without an easily exploitable weakness, meaning we can't trigger one more unless we hit a crit. There'll be many more bosses like this, but he's the worst. I have a long history of crashing out at this fight specifically because hitting crits this early in the game is inconsistent. Regardless, he has an easy trick to him once you know it. He claims to target weaknesses, but instead actually uses elemental attacks in a specific order, and if you block with the right party member, you can deny most of his value and claim the victory. I've fought him like 4 times now and still fuck up the order, but past the Clairvoyant Relic is our new section. New section means new persona, and we pulled Zashoten. A fantastic pull, I think. Primarily because he has crit rate boost. Arguably the best passive we can get this early on. And Auto Tarukaja, which is just as good. My Archangel has Apt Pupil, so fusing them seems like a good idea, but I don't want to make any rash decisions until I absolutely need to. While grinding to the next level cap of 25, I made a realization. In my grind, I should be trying to get as little XP as possible. It seems counterintuitive, but hear me out. I need as many skill cards as I can get. The best way to get them is through shuffle time. Each area of Tartarus has a shuffle time level attached to it, and this determines the pool of cards you can get. This spreadsheet goes over what cards can be found in which shuffle time level, but I need to be in combat to trigger shuffle time. So if I hit my level cap too fast, I won't be able to go into combat and grind for skill cards. What I can do instead is go to a lower floor and farm for Major Arcana cards for as long as I want. When I get all the Major Arcana cards, it triggers a Major Arcana burst. This increases the shuffle time level of all the cards I can get for the rest of the night. You can take this a step further and fight Formidable Shadows. They give an even higher level of cards. You just have to make sure to finish them off with an all-out attack to guarantee a shuffle time. Doing this after an Arcana burst, you can get skill cards that are 2 levels higher than the area usually gives. This basically lets me get good skill cards much earlier and make it so I have a really good chance of getting the skill cards I want. Once I trigger the Major Arcana burst, I just need to go to the lowest floor in Tartarus that has the shuffle time level I'm looking for. Hold on. If I did a bad job at explaining this and it's confusing, I am so sorry. How it works is now very important. Just know that this strat is the backbone of this run and is the only thing that's going to give us a fighting chance in this otherwise borderline impossible run. This strat also let me get way more money than I could before. I'd like to note that I also know that aside from shuffle time, I can get cards from chess, but that takes a while to do and can take up multiple days in game. Hey, future me here. I know I explained the full skill card strategy here, but at this point in the run, I had a very basic understanding of how it worked and didn't come up with the full strategy until much later. I made the strategy better and better the deeper I got into the run. So early on, I didn't get all the skill cards I wanted. But once I perfected the strat, I consistently got every single skill card I needed. Between me being higher level than the Guardian bosses and having access to Theurgies, the bosses of this block were uneventful. I expect it'll be this way for the rest of the bosses with a few exceptions. If we run into an issue, we'll mention it, but for now, because I respect your time, we'll skip our Tartarus runs unless something interesting happens. This run is going to be as long as it already is. With all my low level grinding, I was able to muster enough money to get the Earrings of Grit, the earrings that give you Endure. I realized that I can sell a lot of my items, like my gems and revival items, since I'll never have any use for them. However, I doubt we'll be able to use the earrings the next full moon boss because of status elements. They're pretty toxic, and I would say that they are tied for the third hardest battles in the game. I'm terrified. I've prepped a bit and have some tricks up my sleeve, but if I miss anything, this is GG's. After some time, I have a plan. The Hierophant's whole strategy is based around crits and inflicting fear. The Lovers does the same, just with charm instead. I bought accessories for the whole party that resist fear and charm and will be using those for the battles. I really went back and forth on whether or not Makoto should wear the Endure earrings instead, but ultimately I decided on the resist fear accessory. This is because we can't use any items to heal the team from fear and charm. The only people who can remove status effects are Yukari and Makoto. So I really need them to resist fear. If the whole party is charmed, we will likely lose everyone. Future me here. I misunderstood how this accessory works. It doesn't nullify fear and charm. It just decreases the chances by 50%. A huge oversight. Fuck. Zashoten will be our first persona for the Hierophant fight, and Orpheus will be the persona we used for the Lovers. Zashoten is our hardest hitting persona because of crit boost, but he has a weakness to fire, which is why we had to swap him for Orpheus during the Lovers. I didn't get lucky enough during my skill card grind because I never got Patra. I only have Patra on Asperis, who was also weak to fire, so pulling her out during the Lovers fight to cure status ailments will be so risky that it might not even be worth it. She has Agadyne and it can 100% one-shot me if I'm weak to it. Ask me how I know. I switched to a persona to buff an ally and it's weak to fire. I get KO'd. Yeah, that was definitely a skill issue.
That's so unfortunate.
You?
Why does he only hit criticals?
What the fuck was that? He hits 5 crits in a row? Oh, fuck, dude. I hate this fight. I debated just fusing Asperis, but nothing really seemed to be worth fusing, so I passed on it. I'm so freaking nervous right now. All the prep that was really left was for me to go around collecting 12 cans of soda for Elizabeth, so she'd give me Medea, that I can teach to both Zashoten and Orpheus. I just need to hit up the shrine a few times.
Look at them enjoying their last day on Earth.
July 7th is here, and I double checked that everyone has the right accessories on one last time, because once we're in the fight, we're either beating them or starting over. The fight starts off pretty well. We apply Tarunda and Secunda to lower the Hierophant's attack and accuracy, because the Hierophant hits very hard and crits very often, while also using Sukukaja on Junpei, since he's the most likely to crit. Our accessories seem to be working pretty well since the Hierophant failed to inflict fear on all of us. We got halfway through the fight without any problems until...
Oh my god.
Oh, that is so unlucky.
fuck.
When a party member has fear inflicted on them, they are more likely to be crit. A crit from the Hierophant does enough damage to kill any party member instantly. So this is fucking scary. I used Oracle to buff the whole party so that we increase our chances of surviving this. I pulled out Asperis to cure Yukari and secured the rest of the team. This can't happen during the lovers fight since Asperis is weak to fire. I don't know what we'll do then, but we have to focus on what's in front of us for now. Akihiko gets his theurgy, but we have to pass for now. Because I can't remember the last time we applied Tarunda to the boss, so we need to do that immediately. I had a rhythm going, but the Hierophant inflicting fear on everyone messed that rhythm up. But after a while, we got our rhythm back and got him so low. A few more turns and this is all over.
I missed! This work. I've got it.
Oh shit. No way.
Please.
No f***ing way that just happened.
Well, you know what that means. That means new game. Dude. Yeah, so you've seen the clip now, right? It all happened a little fast, so let's talk about it. I miscounted the amount of turns left on Tarunda. Tarunda lowers the Hierophant's attack, so that doesn't happen. As far as I know, there's no way to tell how many turns are left on Tarunda. Tarunda lasts 3 turns and you're supposed to apply it every 3 turns, or is it 2 turns? I'm not sure actually. It lasts for 3 of the enemy's turns. I'll usually apply it after I've acted twice, but this time I didn't. I attacked with Akihiko instead and instantly regretted it. The little pop-up here will let you know that Tarunda wore off, and unluckily for me, the Hierophant acted on it immediately and went for a crit on Makoto. Game over, this run's done. I feel pretty terrible. I put so much time and effort into this run, and I genuinely thought I would complete this on my first attempt, or at the very least make it to Nyx. I was so scared of failure. I was terrified of this fight, and for me to actually die at this fight made that fear come to life. I'm afraid to try this again and make all this progress to just fail the same way. I used to have doubts, but I know for sure now that I'm a quitter. I have the strongest desire to just release this video as is and simply say it's not possible and settle. I've always been like this. The moment things get difficult or too complicated, I quit, I leave, I run, I lack discipline and consistency. But about a year ago, I attempted a similar run of Persona 3 Reload, and oh no, it's kind of funny. I couldn't get past this exact fight, and I quit the run completely and gave up on the idea of becoming a content creator. After multiple attempts and an embarrassing amount of hours, I was done.
This is so fucking stupid. I can't fucking do this shit. Fuck this.
I gave up on the run. I just wasn't good enough. No matter what I did, I couldn't get past this. I tried everything I could think of. After a whole week passed, I watched a YouTube video that inspired me to keep going. And I made a vow exactly 1 year ago today that I won't quit, that I'll keep going until I've reached my goal, no matter what it is. I haven't broken that vow since, and I don't plan to today. So what do you say we just try this again? Yeah. Oh my God. Where am I? How am I back here? Thought I was here weeks ago.
Oh, you're finally awake. I think you failed your run.
What? What are you even talking about? I just feel like I just had the weirdest dream where I had to keep fighting every full moon shadow without dying, and if I fail, I'd have to start over, I think.
Yeah, it's not a dream. And to make things worse, you died to the Hierophant.
The f***ing Hierophant? Oh, dude.
Didn't even make it to the lovers. It's honestly pretty embarrassing. I'd expect this type of performance from Junpei, but not you. Now that I'm thinking about it, It's such a dumb name, isn't it? Junpei? More like stupid little
Whoa, 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 whoa. Let me stop you right there before you get me demonetized. Let's just do this one last time, yeah? Chapter 3, Flying Under the Sun. Okay, so new game time. Even though I had to redo this, I won't put you through all that same pain again. We'll run through this pretty quickly. Our new protagonist is Ass Blastum. Don't worry about the name. I was in a bad head state when choosing it. I told myself I was ass at this game, and here we are, with every NPC calling me ass or Blastum-kun for the rest of the game. We get our 2 free encounters off rip, Orpheus and Asparus. Our first real encounter for Thebble is Angel. I expected a Pixie, but I was wrong. Pixie isn't scripted. What do you know? Overall, no good or bad feelings about this catch. Arca Block 1, we got an Omoikane. Definitely not better than Archangel, but it's something, I guess. It's pretty gross though, I'll be fusing this shit immediately. Then for Arca Block 2, we got Slime. Actually an amazing catch. He resists Bash and Strike, which is really good against Lovers and Hierophant. And that's the whole new lineup. If you're wondering how the rest of the run went, mostly the same. We use the exact same strategies. How, you ask? It's a whole new run with new random personas. Well, my curious friend, I anticipated that I would likely be doing the earlier parts of this run multiple times, so I purposely chose a strategy that I could easily replicate. If you remember, both of my strategies for the Priestess and the Emperor and Empress fight revolved around Orpheus, who is a guaranteed encounter each run, which is why when choosing between different strats, I always lean towards Orpheus. All I had to do was build him the same. Some of the Guardian bosses were a bit more difficult since I didn't have Pixie early on. She was the only persona I had with Zio, but it was nothing an overleveled party couldn't handle. So now you're all caught up to today, the day where I'm fighting the Hierophant again. For those of you with trust issues like me, here's proof that our new character's name is Ass, and that he's not exceeded the level cap of 25, and that it's a different save file from Can't Catch Him. For you, it's probably only been a few minutes since my last fight with the Hierophant, but for me, it's been a few days. And that sinking feeling is back. My stomach was hurting at the thought of this fight, and that feeling of failure was creeping right back in. Oh, I'm so scared. Okay. Hey, lock in. My party's equipment is the same, however, I decided to give Makoto the Endure earrings instead of the Resist Fear accessory this time around. I think that was a misplay for sure. The Hierophant has crit amp and apt pupil, so we're likely to see a crit again, if not a few. He also has fear boost, which increases his chance of inflicting fear by 50%. The charms we have also reduce the chances by 50%, so they basically cancel out and do nothing. I definitely should have went for the Endure last time. My number one priority for this fight is to keep Secunda and Tarunda up at all times. I try to do it every 2 turns, but if I'm not sure if it's applied, I err on the side of caution and apply the debuff anyways. I prioritize heals second in case of a crit. We need as much health as possible to survive one. I also want everyone topped up so that when Fuga uses her Theurgy, she buffs the whole team and doesn't heal us instead. We got pretty good RNG for this fight. We dodged a lot of the Hierophant's attacks and got hit with fear a handful of times. But I feel any second now things can go bad. This needs to end quickly before our luck turns around. It's all down to Junpei. Can he finish the Hierophant and secure us the victory? Alright. This might kill him. Might. Oh, let's go! There's no time to celebrate though. We need to take on the Lovers immediately after. Before going in, we swap our party's accessories to the ones that resist charm. For this fight, we can't use our hardest hitting persona, Slime. Slime is weak to fire and so is Asparus. Thankfully, I built Orpheus up so he'll be our main damage dealer, and Angel actually knows Patra. So unlike last time, we have a safe way to cure status ailments now. We start off with applying all our debuffs onto the Lovers. She's the same as the Hierophant, a crit machine who can easily one-tap a party member. And good thing we debuffed her because she hits a crit immediately. She hit a crit off rip, bro. Oh my god, this is bad. He's dead. She left Akihiko with just 21 HP on his first turn. We were able to get him back up to full though. The strategy here is the same as the Hierophant, except we got far worse RNG. She hits full party charms multiple times throughout this fight. When the whole party's charmed, all I can do is pray. The fight is completely out of our hands. I just sit here looking at my party members, begging them, please don't do me like they did my boy.
And Aegis killed me. Aegis straight up just shot me. Remember how Aegis's directive is to always protect Makoto? Well, I guess he just got tired of that shit.
All I could realistically do was guard the Junpei until the charm wore off. I thought the no item rule was probably the least worrisome rule, but fights like this tell me it's up there as one of the worst rules on the list. The party kept healing the lovers boss up, but I was okay with this, because that means they're not attacking each other instead. When they do attack each other though, they all seem to target Akihiko for some reason. They just really want him gone. And after that, Akihiko buffs the lover's accuracy, making her more likely to crit, and right after she attacks. Thankfully, she didn't crit, but it felt like the whole party was charmed for most of the fight. I got to the point that I had to accept the fact that someone will die here. And if it had to be someone, it can't be Yukari or Makoto. So I did everything in my power to keep them up the most. This fight went on for what felt like forever, and eventually we got the lovers low. And this is it. Let's go, Junpei! Holy shit, we can't fuck this up. We're so close, we can't fuck this up.
Let's go.
Oh, I'm low. Oh no. Oh, he's gonna kill Akihiko. Akihiko dodged it? What the f— Oh my god.
I'll go with.
There's no fucking way that just happened. Holy shit, our luck gotta turn around at some point, right? Oh my god. We almost lost Akihiko multiple times, but we did it. We actually got through it with no one dying, crazily enough. I was pretty excited and happy as hell. Let's just keep that confidence in check though. We wouldn't want to repeat our previous mistakes and fly too close to the sun now, would we? To prepare for the next fight, I'm just buried in these spreadsheets and calculators. Half of my time completing this run is spent looking at spreadsheets. You might ask if that's against the rules, and the answer is no. Spreadsheets and calculators are quite common in Nuzlocke runs. They're straight up necessary for some harder ones, and I think this is one of those times. It's within the rules, yes, but is it going to increase the chances of me getting stuffed into a locker and decrease the chances of me getting laid? Probably. I don't know. Actually, my girl's pretty weird. But you know that meme with the guy about to hit diamonds and he just turns around? I think that's where we are in the run right now. Getting over the lovers fight is when things start to get better for us. The main reason is we now get access to Shuffle Time level 6 cards, with the help of Major Arcanic Burst of course. This opens up so many possibilities. We can get some pretty crazy stuff, and with my strategy of farming really low level enemies for Major Arcana cards, we can almost guarantee we'll get all the cards we need. I head to Tartarus to get our next encounter, and we got a Naga. By far the most dogshit encounter we've gotten. I can't think of a single use for him besides putting him in a blender with another persona. But after my encounter, I grinded for some skill cards, and here's some stuff we got. Apt Pupil, crit rate boost, and Getsu A. Damn near the strongest attack in this game, amongst other really good stuff too. I'll show my build up here on screen. It's looking pretty good. I intend to use Orpheus and Slime for the coming fight. Even though I got pretty lucky with my skill cards, I didn't have much luck in other aspects like items. I'll explain more during the chariot fight, but we almost didn't even make it to the fight. That's because of this guy. I saw his move list before going in, but I didn't really put 2 and 2 together. This guy is a menace. On the guide I used, it only showed the information for the small shadow and not the big shadow. The big shadow is the real problem. He uses Charge and Rebellion and Tsukukaja and fully debuffs everyone. Then he uses Herculean Strike. What I'm saying is he's set up to wipe our entire party, and only out of pure luck did we survive. Makoto's Earrings of Grit triggered and I damn near shat myself. His earrings were the only thing standing between us and a full reset. We thankfully recovered and defeated him. This is why I have multiple guides and spreadsheets I pull information from to cross-reference. But after hours and hours of looking at spreadsheets, I just have kind of gotten lazy with the Guardian bosses since they're so easy now. We normally overlevel before challenging them and charge all our theurgies before each boss. but I'll be more careful from here on out. I should also mention that monad doors and passages have opened up. These are really dangerous for us right now and are not worth the risk since they use insta-kill attacks. We might revisit these at a higher level though. It's August 6th and it's time to fight Chariot and Justice. There's not much to talk about. Chariot and Justice are easy. Easier than the Priestess and even easier than the early Guardian bosses. But there is one tiny little problem. When Chariot and Justice separate, Justice will use Mahama and Hamam. Mahama has a 30% chance to insta-kill and it's a party-wide attack. There's 4 of us in the party, so with just one use of Mahama, Justice will roll to see if he gets the 30% and he'll do this 4 times in a row. Looking at some simple math, it's almost guaranteed someone will die, unless we get really lucky. I'm not counting on that. Each party member's chance of survival is 70%. Not too bad, right? But what is the probability that we'll roll that 70% 4 times in a row? You get this by calculating 0.7 to the 4th power, and the answer is 24%. These odds are not as great. Hamon is a single target move and it has a 50% chance to insta-kill. Also not great. We can survive insta-kill attacks with homunculi though. This is what I was talking about earlier. I got quite lucky with my skill cards but didn't get nearly as lucky with my homunculi. Homunculi can be found in rare chests and Arca block and can be used to negate one insta-kill attack. Don't worry, we don't have to actually use the item in battle, it's just automatically consumed from your inventory. I went up and down Arca block more than your mom goes up and down that pole, but still no luck. You can also get homunculi from the antique shop in exchange for gems. I used all my gems to teach Endure Light to my personas. So going into this fight, I have only 3 homunculi, which means we can only survive 3 insta-kill attacks. The chances of someone dying here isn't super high, but it's more than I'm comfortable with. Makoto has an Orpheus with Endure Light, Earrings of Grit, and a Slime with Survival Trick. That's basically Endure buff for insta-kill attacks, and Endure Light too. So I know Makoto won't die for sure. The problem is our party members. With Justice's first Mahama, he used 2 of our homunculi already, so it's not looking good. But I realize I can just keep focusing Justice. You're not supposed to do this because Chariot will just res him an infinite amount of times, but killing Justice over and over again stops him from getting as many turns as he usually does. By doing this, we made it through the fight and with our full party. I'm getting worried. Preparing for the Hermit fight is much more difficult than I thought. I vaguely planned this fight out and was just hoping all I would need is a persona with resist electric. Nope, I'm wrong. I need a lot more than that. First off, I've spent most of my time maxing out Orpheus' stats, but he's weak to electric, so we can't even use him. Junpei won't be with us for the fight and he's our best party member right now. I've been putting all of my incense into him. And I can't bring Yukari, she's weak to electric. Hermit only uses electric moves, so if we bring her, we're basically just throwing her away. Yukari is our only healer until we get Ken. We don't get Ken until August 28th, and we need Shinji in place of Junpei, and we don't get Shinji until September 2nd, just 3 days before the full moon boss. That's not enough time to get my skill cards. How am I going to get the skill cards I need in time and get everyone to the level cap? Fuck!
This guy's really crashing out. Let's see what else is on.
Hey bro, what is this like skibbity shit I be seeing people doing? Remember?
It's my turn.
We interrupt this program to remind you to always reapply your buffs or you'll end up like this asshole. It's important to apply them every 3 turns. Or was it 2 turns? That's really important to know, huh? We'll get back to you on that.
Ads. Are you dead ass right now? Let's just go back to what we were watching.
Chapter 4. Take your time in the ocean. I think I took on more than I can handle. I've never done a run this difficult before, and I'm getting overwhelmed. The pressure of making one simple mistake that could lead to a whole reset is really getting to me. I'm worried that pressure will cloud my judgment and push me to crash and burn, but we gotta see this through. Alright, let's just take this one step at a time, and I promise not to freak out. Let's fully plan the party for the Hermit first. Akihiko resists electric, so he gets a guaranteed spot. He also has Tarunda, a physical attack and a heal. Only a single target heal though. Okay, so he's in, I guess. That leaves 2 spots. Ken has a full party heal, so he seems like the best option. Also has Makar Karn, which can come in very clutch. So I think Ken is party member number 3. Shinji hits like a Mack truck, but Koromaru gets Revolution, which has been my go-to strategy for this fight. It increases everyone's crit rate, including the enemy. But Hermit only uses magic attacks, and magic attacks can't crit, so we would be the only ones benefiting from this. And Koromaru also has Getsue. But from my experience, Koromaru's Getsue doesn't hit very hard. I could swap out Akihiko for Shinji, that way Koromaru can use his theurgy to buff everyone's physical attacks. He can use Revolution, and in theory, Makoto and Shinji should rip through the Hermit's health. It is a lot more risky since we have less survivability, and we could lose a party member. I think I'm being too ambitious again. We'll just take the safer route. Let's head to Tartarus and get our encounter next. We got Alamia. Probably the best encounter we've gotten. She resists electric naturally. I also took a look at the new skill cards available to us now, and there's really not many we need or want. We have most of what we need already with the exception of the single target boost. If we get it, great. If not, it's not a deal breaker. We can also try to go for the evade electric card, but Lamia resists electric already. Knowing that I didn't really need any of the cards really took the pressure off skill card grinding, and we didn't do it for very long until we got single target boost. I visited the Velvet Room and made our first fusion of the run, Tam Lin. Because what's better than resisting electric? Completely nullifying it. I have every card I need to make a decent crit build. Only issue is his stats are just bad, and we had to give up our slime for him. I think it'll be worth it though. All that's left is to spend the month getting Tam Lin's stats up and to get to the level cap after we have Shinji. After everyone's level is 41, it's time for the Hermit. The Hermit only attacks with electricity. He uses all kinds of different attacks with varying levels of danger, but at the end of the day, they're all just electric attacks. So as long as I can stay on Tam Lin, it's impossible for Makoto to die here. Can't say the same for everyone else here though. We apply all our debuffs onto the Hermit while Shinji uses Bloody Charge and Heat Wave to chip away at the Hermit's life. Bloody Charge seems like it's not really worth it at first, but it gets Shinji below half HP. So this charges his theurgy super fast. Shinji has Endure as well, so I'm okay with doing this. Akihiko and Ken are just here to make sure everyone stays up. It's all going well until the Hermit attacks one of our party members twice in a row. Oh, he had a crit. Oh, please don't hit. Oh, is that a... Oh my god, Akihiko is so close to death. I don't know what it is with these bosses, but they hate Akihiko. It actually worked out this time because he's resistant to electric attacks. If this was any other party member, they would be dead right now. I'm glad I decided to take the safer route. The rest of the fight follows a simple cycle. The Hermit charges his next attack, and we attack a few times, and then we all block when he's done charging. Shinji hits pretty hard, and he really carried us through this fight. We did have a very close call and almost lost Ken, but it all worked out. This fight took nearly 20 minutes and some intense focus, but that's another full moon boss down. Oh shit, I'm back here again.
Yeah, you'd even wipe to a boss shadow this time. It's actually kind of impressive how you managed to get back here.
What? Was it to a guardian boss at least?
No, it wasn't a guardian boss. It wasn't even a small shadow.
Dude, you're so not helpful. Wait, so if I didn't die to a shadow, why am I here?
How do I put this? You had a rough day yesterday.
That doesn't clear anything up at all.
I think it'll just be easier if I just show you.
Okay, so it's 12:30 a.m. as I am recording this. I defeated Fortune and Strength today, but I made a huge mistake. Well, I made a few mistakes. I couldn't even use the strategy I spent an hour coming up with. It revolved around Ken and Shinji. Ken and Shinji aren't even available for the Fortune and Strength fight. So on the day of the full moon boss, I had to put together a last minute team and strategy that just wasn't very good. It was pretty ass. Because of this, during the fight, we lost Aegis, then we lost Akihiko, and at the very end, we lost Yukari. We did defeat them, but to top it all off, I f***ed up the recording of the session. I got up pretty early to start recording and made a lot of progress, and it just sucks to not have any of it. I did talk about this a little bit earlier, but the pressure of this run is getting to me and is messing with my head. This is a long run. It's a marathon, and I've treated this more like a sprint. This is a marathon where every single encounter matters. Every boss, every small enemy, every single choice matters. And the run can turn around at any point. To prevent something embarrassing like wiping to a random shadow, I'm spending a lot of my time looking at 20 different spreadsheets planning out every move, and it's just mentally taxing. I wish I was exaggerating about the 20 spreadsheets, but I'm not. I'm pretty sure it's actually more than that. I've also been recording for about 2 weeks straight for 4 to 8 hours every day after I get off work, because I have a specific day that I want this video to come out on, and I'm only realizing now as I'm saying it that the date is a dumb and arbitrary date. It doesn't matter. What I'm getting at is I've been too ambitious and have not been taking any breaks whatsoever, and I've completely f***ed myself over. I'm not thinking straight and making mistakes that I would never normally make. And it really looks like this run's biggest enemy is me, and I just kicked my own ass. So we're going to need to restart this run again. I don't have the footage for the Fortune and Strength fight, and I want this run to be complete. I progressed too far to rewind. I also have serious doubts that we'll be able to beat the Hanged Man without Yukari, Akihiko, and Aigis. We have no choice but to restart. So after I've taken a long break for my mental to recover, we'll be back. Hopefully. Who knows?
So now that you've seen it, what do you think?
I think that's pretty bad. That's embarrassing and upsetting, and I feel like shit, and I think I'm done.
You're like, done?
Yeah. Done.
You're really going to stop here? This far in? You've done all of the prep work. You have a full plan. You can't be done here. You can't be serious.
I'm just so tired. I need rest. I just need a break.
Okay, well, take as many naps as you need. Take your breaks. Take your time to be sad and upset. Feel bad for yourself as long as you want. But once you're done, I'll be here to help you get ready for the next attempt, and the one after that, and the one after that, until you've reached your goal.
Thank you. I think I just need to sit and wallow in my failure, you know, like, even though it stinks to think about how I ruined my own run, sitting in my failure will help me not make the same mistake again, you know?
Not what I meant, but sure, just get your emo ass back in there.
Chapter 5. To be a star, you must burn. All right, here's our new champion, Ash Ketchum, because he's the one. He has to be the one who's finally going to defeat Nyx. I'm going to be straight up with you, restarting sucks, but there is some good news. The majority of my time spent on this run has been spent on planning. Planning out what enemies will grind on, planning out guardian bosses, my persona builds, the skill cards we need, and planning out parties for boss fights. Learning all of the boss's attacks, patterns, you get the idea. I'd say about 60% of this run was spent planning, while we spent about 40% of that time actually executing. I have a little notebook here with all the things I've learned, the guardian bosses to watch out for, as well as the ideal party lineups and persona builds we need for each boss. Even the boss's attacks and set patterns, if they have one. Also, because I perfected our skill card strat, I can almost guarantee I'll get every card I'll need again. The only issue I suspect we'll run into is RNG. If we get really unlucky, we could still lose party members to double crits or insta-kill moves from Chariot and Justice. I'm mainly worried about the Hierophant lovers. Also, if I don't get an electric resistant persona before Hermit, that might also be a problem, since we don't get access to resist cards until after we've defeated the Hermit. There's no way to actually know until we attempt it, so what do you say we just do this one last time? Yeah? Okay, that's Priestess done. With no casualties, pretty smooth. Alright, so Empress and Arcana is here today. I don't really see a problem, like, at all. We have all the elements we need, so this should be done pretty quickly. Okay. Well, that was done in like less than 3 minutes. Really not a problem. Really spent more time prepping for this than I did actually fighting these guys. All right, we're at the Hierophants. This is the only thing that's probably going to determine if this run is a failure or not. Let's just hope that we don't get bad RNG. All right, we made it to the Hierophant, but I'm not sure if we'll make it through the Lovers. All right, we're going to swap out our gear for our party, and Sharp Student really carried us through that first fight, so hopefully it'll still carry us to this next fight, and we get good RNG, but that's not good. Oh my gosh. It's so bad. Oh my gosh, Yukari's so close to death. I can't believe we made it through that. Like, legitimately. Oh, let's fucking go. Oh, we really almost lost Yukari. That would have been so bad.
Let's go! Holy deuces!
It's my turn! Yeah! Let the light break down on them!
I am just on top of the world right now. I'm so happy to have just caught up to where I was. This run, I decided to do it the right way. I took my time and took as many bricks as I needed. I didn't push myself too hard, and it all still worked out. There are some interesting things that happened this run that I'll go over pretty quickly. Well, first off, here's Ash Ketchum's save file next to the last 2 attempts, and here's the full party lineup we got. I haven't fused anything in this run since I haven't needed to, and here's all the party members left. Yeah, no one's died, and I'm really happy about that. We changed our strats up a bit. My first 2 attempts at the Priestess and the Emperor and Empress fights were a bit sloppy in my opinion, mainly because I didn't have my skill card grinding strat down to a T yet. But I did have it this time around, and I got some really good builds going early on that made the fight a complete breeze. We got incredibly good RNG on the Hierophant and had no close calls, but I can't say the same for the Lovers. We almost lost Yukari due to an almost full group charm. I used Fornius for both fights who learned Sharp Student naturally. This halves our chances of being crit, and it carried us through both fights. This is huge because you can't get the Sharp Student passive from skill cards this early on. Because we had Fornius, the Endure Earrings went to Yukari to prevent anything unfortunate. Then for Chariot of Justice, I really prioritized getting Homunculi from the beginning of the month, so that we wouldn't have to worry about the insta-kill attacks. I also brought along Aegis this time because of her really good theurgy. Then before the Hermit, we got Yamato no Orochi as our encounter, which was just perfect. He nullifies electric, so this gave me room to be more aggressive with my party. For the Hermit, I pulled out my old strat of using Koromaru, Shinji, and Ken. I didn't do this last attempt because we were worried about someone dying. I got around this pretty easily though. Makoto practically can't die because of no electric. Shinji naturally knows Endure, and we can't use him for any more bosses in the future, so if he dies, it's not a huge loss. Then I gave Ken the Endure Earrings, and Koromaru always had a barrier up on him to keep him safe. This let me be as aggressive as I wanted. I used Revolution and Koromaru's theurgy to cast Charge on the whole party, and abused that to get to the fight really easily. Now that we're caught up, it's time to prep for Fortune and Strength. First things first, we need our encounter, and we got Thunderbird. I got this exact persona last time and thought it was a waste. I saw that it had Drain Electric and immediately thought this would have been great for Hermit and just completely ignored it. I wasn't really thinking straight then. Where I once saw trash, I'd now see gold. You see, I haven't had a DPS increase in a while. The skill cards we've gotten access to this month and the past few months haven't given us any stronger attacks. The last strong attack we got was Getsu-A, and that was the month before Chariot of Justice. We'll be fighting Strength for most of the coming boss fight. She resists all physical attacks, who I'm pretty sure also has high counter. This wasn't listed on one of her passives in the guides I'm using, and is actually how I lost Akihiko finding her. So we'll need strong magic attacks. As far as skill cards go, we don't get any tier 3 dying attacks or any app passives until tier 10 and 12 shuffle time levels. That's in December and January, I'm pretty sure. But Thunderbird learns Zeodyne naturally, so we can dish out a lot of damage, and Fortune is weak to electric. Zeodyne will be our strongest magic attack until we get to Nyx. I can't believe I completely overlooked this on our last attempt, so Thunderbird will be our main persona for Fortune and Strength. This month we get access to resist skill cards too, so I can make Thunderbird resist Strike and Wind, which are Fortune and Strength's primary ways of dealing damage. Shinji and Ken won't be with us for the fight, and after thinking it over a lot, our party will be Mitsuru, Yukari, and Akihiko. This composition is a bit risky, mainly for Mitsuru and Yukari. They barely have over 300 HP, which means they can each get one tap. This will happen if Strength attacks and Fortune rolls a 300 damage attack in one turn. To help mitigate this, I'll be giving them items that increase each of their HP by 30 HP or so. It's not much, but maybe it's enough to leave them low instead of killing them. I chose Yukari for her healing, her strong magic attacks, and her resistance to wind. Mitsuru for her ability to lower the enemy's defense and because she's our strongest magic attacker. Then Akihiko to lower strength attack and his Zeo skills. I made this team because it's the fastest way we can defeat the bosses. It's a very aggressive but fragile team. For that reason, Yukari is getting the Earrings of Grit this time around. Like I said, it's risky, we can lose a lot of party members, but this is my preferred playstyle. Before, I was playing really passive and defensive, which just isn't how I usually operate. I think this is what ultimately led to my past failures, so I'm staying true to how I like to play, and hopefully it'll work out. Back in Tartarus, we are now in Zaya block. This is where Guardian bosses become pretty difficult again. There's a tank guy who hits like a Mack truck, there's also the dice, and the guy on the rocking chair, if you know, you know, but when it came to defeating them, there's really not much to tell. As a general rule, I overlevel before facing every Guardian boss. I also use Sylphid Aura that gives me a team-wide buff before the fight, and I have all my theurgies max before I go into every single Guardian boss. So, I cheesed them. I cheesed all of them. Fighting them legitimately can just be way too risky. I really don't care because some of their mechanics are really toxic and ass to deal with. But there's really not much strategy to go over with the Guardian bosses, aside from me just complaining about how much I hate them. Also, let me introduce you to where I spend most of my entire run at, Arca Block. I have hours and hours spent just in Arca Block alone. Before each Tartarus run, I go to Arca Block. At the end of my runs, I go to Arca Block. Arca Block is this run's blood and body. Arca Block is the means by which all is revealed. This is where I get all my major arcana cards so that I can grind skill cards. This makes the grind much less RNG dependent. You get a guaranteed major arcana card from the stronger rare shadows that have that big red aura around them. If you finish them with an all-out attack, you get a guaranteed shuffle time. The rare shadows in Arca Block are super easy to bully, and let me get my arcana burst very fast without getting any XP. I see the amount of XP left to my level cap as attempts. The more XP I have left, the more attempts I have to get the skill cards I need. After I get the burst, I go to the block that has the skill cards I'm farming for, which is usually the highest block. After I get my skill cards and get near my level cap, I go back down to Arca Block. I come here to grind Twilight Fragments from the Dark Zones, a Monkey Life from chests, and gems like Amethyst. I also grind money here, though I do go up to higher Tartarus floors as my level increases. Thanks to how XP works in this game, I can grind for as much money as I want for as long as I want. There's a really aggressive XP multiplier in Reload that decreases the amount of XP you get from enemies if they're a lower level than you. I usually hate this mechanic. In every single one of my runs, it makes everything super grindy, but for the first time ever, this is actually a good thing. You'll legit get like 100 XP that's divided 4 ways amongst your group. That's 25 XP per person when you're like 10,000 XP away from your next level. This makes money so easy to come by. You can just sit here forever and get as much money as you need. And money is going to become super important once we can start using it to get incense. So right now, I'm stacking up as much as I can. Fortune and strength are here, and this never gets easier. Fighting a boss that I had to reset to is nerve-wracking, especially after rebuilding for 40 hours and knowing it can all be undone in just a single turn. But it'll be different this time. I'm taking my time, and I've got a strategy that works with my playstyle more. So we start off with Yamato no Orochi. He learns Mariko Kaja naturally and is the only way for us to use this, besides bringing Agus. Hence why I brought her last time before she died. Anyways, we debuff Strength Attack, defense, and accuracy to deal with her crits. We applied all our buffs in one turn so that when I get notified that our defense has reverted to normal, I know it's time to reapply all the debuffs. We use our magic attacks to rip through her health while Yukari gets us all to full. Because I know pretty soon Fortune is going to roll a 300. And he does. We get to full HP, but Strength attacks again and gets the whole party to below 300 HP. And if Fortune rolls another 300, everyone is dead. But he just rolled one, so what are the odds, right? If the roulette really is random, the chance is 1 in 64 or a 1.5% chance. Oh, thank God, he didn't roll the 300. I've been saving my theurgies to combo with Oracle. Her theurgy will give the whole party Heat Riser, or Charge and Focus if we're all close to full HP. Once we get the buff, we use our theurgies to do a ton of damage. Strength lands a crit on Yukari and goes for the kill, but thankfully misses because of our buffs and debuffs. Also, here's a fun fact you might not know since you only learned this by being asked at this game. But if you take too long to defeat strength, Fortune will just straight up stop rolling the roulette and will just attack you until you defeat strength. That means he'll only use Garudine and Magarudine. We don't have to be scared of the 300 HP attack anymore and have nothing to worry about for the rest of the night. We defeat strength and target Fortune's weaknesses to repeatedly trigger an all-out attack, banishing his stupid ass to the Shadow Realm. Right after defeating Fortune and strength, something huge happens. We can now buy most gems at Club Escapade. We can use these gems to get incense cards. The cards can be used to increase our party member stats to really increase their strength. Since money is virtually infinite in Persona 3 Reload, you can get as many instances as you want. So we will be working on maxing our party stats and should have the max before Nyx. I can also get more homunculi, which will be relevant for our next fight, Jin, Takaya, and the Hanged Man. There are a lot of insta-kills being thrown around in those fights, so we'll need a lot of homunculi. Speaking of these boss fights, they're going to be hard to plan for. Each fight has its own set of problems. But before that, let's get our encounter for this section. We got a Giri Mekala, or Giri for short. I see literally no use for him right now, but who knows? The Repel Slash and Pierce could be useful later. If he had a Repel Strike, that would have been perfect for the Hanged Man since he uses God Hand a lot, but we didn't get it. Jin and Takaya are Persona users and will use our own tricks against us. They can target weaknesses and use Shift to target more weaknesses. This can quickly get out of hand and cause a death or even a party wipe. After looking at their moves, they can target every single element except fire for some reason. Mitsuru's weakness is fire, so she seems like a safe pick for this fight. But they can target every single one of our other party members' weaknesses. Not a single person is safe to bring in for this fight. For that reason, I really debated going at it solo, and I came up with a decent strategy that could really work, but it had a few holes. First, their buffs would get out of hand very quickly. They can use Heat Riser and debuffs. I could get forced into a position where all I can do is remove buffs, and they just reapply them until I run out of SP. And then the fight is over. I can't use items, so I would be at the mercy of Oracle giving me SP, which is the most inconsistent theurgy of hers to trigger. I could modify the strat a little and only bring Mitsuru, but that still doesn't seem right. I'll have to really look at my resources to come up with a decent strategy for this. And after my search, I got a few things. The main problem is I can't remove my party's weaknesses at all this run. I don't have a way to get the heart items for my party members' best armor. The heart items are gotten through fusion, but after some digging, I noticed I do have access to eye accessories. These accessories increase the chances of certain elements missing by 20%. Not huge, but when combined with Sukunda and Tsukukaja, they can really have an impact. They come in every element, so I can get one for every party member. The eye accessories only spawn in a specific chest, a 1 fragment chest on floor 120. If I want to get all of them, I need to save before going to Tartarus, open the chest, and see if I get an eye item I need. If I don't, I reload my save and try again until I get all the eye accessories I want. In fact, this can be done for a lot of the skill cards and gear in this game. Before attempting this challenge, I thought the floors that Twilight chests were on was completely random, but there are designated chests that always spawn on the same floor and have a designated pool you can pull from. I've been farming these chests the whole run to get skill cards I need, thanks to a spreadsheet I got from Legendary, but this is my first time farming for an accessory. Also, on floor 140, there are insulated tights that increase lightning evasion. We'll use these for Yukari since her accessory slot is taken by the Earrings of Grit. Aside from the accessories, I've used my first persona of this attempt, Needhor. We have to give up Thunderbird and our only dying skill, but it was worth it. He nullifies and resists 4 elements, plus learns no light for a total of 5 elements. I also teach him resist wind, so now it resists almost everything. He'll be the main persona for the coming fights. We got the Endure skill card this month and group-wide buffs. I actually built a total of 5 personas for this fight. Needhor for a Getsue crit build. Yamato Norochi has all of the buffs, debuffs, plus Dekund and Dekaja. Pixie has all our healing skills. Orpheus has every element, and Zashoten has every physical attack. They all have resist cards covering the weaknesses and Endure to prevent anything unfortunate. A deeper look into the antique store also revealed that we can actually get a strong piece of armor for Junpei, and all I need for it are gems. It has a super high armor rating and has anti-Windmaster. This comboed with his eye accessory will make him hard to hit for the first 3 turns. So when we got this piece of armor, I really started thinking, and I was actually thinking about Chess Club, weirdly enough. I was the worst at chess in our club, without a doubt. But I had a playstyle that threw a lot of people off guard that consistently let me win, and is how I come up with most of my shots for anything I do. The style is what I like to call controlled aggression. Most people who play aggressively are predictable and often only win against people who are inexperienced, and it doesn't really get you anywhere. Aggressive plays are risky, but what if you could mitigate that risk? Controlled aggression is more thought out. You play risky, you play dangerously, but you also mitigate the risk. Like in my Hermit fight, we used Endure and Makara Karn to support my aggressive playstyle with Revolution. In the Fortune fight, I used buffs to let me be as aggressive as I wanted. Sure, there's still a risk that you could still fail and lose everything, but it's slightly more likely that you'll win. And from my experience, in this game at least, playing defensively can still get you killed. Playing defensively makes you drag out fights longer than they need to, and the next thing you know, you lost Akihiko, Aegis, and Yukari to Strength and Fortune, one of the easier bosses in this game. Even though this might be dumb, I'm going all in on aggression for the coming fights. I honestly don't see another way through this. I'm going to build a team all based around Junpei and damage. I'm bringing in Junpei because he has crit amp and hits pretty hard. Yukari will heal and remove Dizzy from Jin's grenades. I went with Yukari over Ken because Ken is susceptible to dark insta-kill attacks, which is so much worse than just having a weakness targeted. Koromaru is here for Revolution in charge. Revolution can definitely get us killed. After all, Jin and Takai can crit and they do so pretty often. But I think we can mitigate all this risk with Sharp Student, Endure, the Earrings of Grit, debuffs, and our accessories, of course. It's possible someone will still die, but this is the last fight before Nyx, the final boss, so we can still complete the challenge without them. Makoto pretty much can't die because of Nidhor and Endure unless I really mess up. This idea is still far riskier than building a party around Misuru, because they can legitimately target everyone's weakness in one turn, and if that happens, we would be in for a bad time. But this is what I'm going with, and there's only one way to find out how this will go. So first things first, we apply our buffs and debuffs. Yamato no Orochi is built for that. We have time since these two have hidden phases. You can't get their HP below 2/3 until they say certain dialogue. They also won't target weaknesses until then. Once we have every buff we need, Jin has to die first. He applies a ton of debuffs and buffs, and he uses a lightning attack. He can also make everyone dizzy, but I have the Amortite necklace on, and made Patra on Pixie just in case. Once Jin's out of the way, he can't target Yukari's weakness anymore, making her relatively safe for the rest of the fight. You target Koromaru's weakness and almost kill him, then do the same to Yukari. But thanks to Secunda and Tarunda, she survives it. Whenever it comes around to Junpei's turn, he has the effects of Revolution and Tsukukaja. He crits almost every time he attacks. I also saved our Theurgies again to combo with Oracle's Charge Theurgy. On top of that, his Theurgy also has a crit. This let us swipe Jin really fast. Yukari gets hit with an insta-kill attack but survives it because of the armor we put on her, the survival trick. After Koromaru gives us charge, Makoto swaps to Nidhor and goes for a Getsue that crits and obliterates Takaya's health. Revolution was so worth it. Sure, they crit us a few times, but we hit so much harder than they did. So I initially planned a different party for the Hanged Man, mainly because I thought only Makoto would survive the first fight, but all the time I spent watching others fight Takaya and Jin really helped me predict their attacks and make it out in one piece. The fight went so well that I just decided to go in with the same party. The biggest problem we run into with the Hanged Man is Grim Transcendence. This allows him to take 6 turns in a row. Aside from the lovers, this is the fight I was dreading the most. He also uses God Fist, 2 attacks of those and you're pretty much dead. So we really need to play a bit more defensive. Koromaru can't use Revolution at all for this entire fight, unless we want to get hit with a double crit and die. But he can still provide offensive value through his Theurgy. It doubles everyone's next physical attack. Plus, if Revolution is up, Hanged Man won't use Revolution himself. He'll use one of his 6 turns instead to attack. To even fight the Hanged Man, we have to defeat these statues first. They all have a weakness. This is where Orpheus and Shoten come in. We target their weaknesses until the Hanged Man comes down, all while preparing to hit him hard with our buffed attacks when he lands. Once he lands, we hit as hard as we can with our Theurgies and an all-out attack. We hit him so hard we completely skipped his turn and he summoned the next set of statues. This is more of the same. The statues are nowhere near as dangerous as the Hanged Man himself. So we use our time with the statues to farm theurgies, apply buffs and debuffs, then target their weaknesses to get the Hanged Man to land. Once he lands, we hit him with another theurgy that crits. This skips his turn again and we get to the last statue. The statue resists everything but almighty damage, and it hits a bit harder than the other statues. Theurgies go through resistances, so we use Yukaris to defeat it, but that means we can't use the theurgy on the Hanged Man. So he'll get to act here. It's pretty scary. He gets his 6 turns, he almost kills Junpei, but instead of killing him with the last turn, he completely debuffs all of us. Uses focus and gives himself Heat Riser. If I don't deal with it, he's gonna wipe our party next turn without a doubt. So we used Dekunde and Dekaja and tried our best to survive his next set of attacks. But for some reason he only acts once, giving us more time to buff our defense and heal up to full for his next wave of attacks. But Junpei hits a crit again and got him low enough that Koromaru was able to finish him with a Getsue. One more turn and that could have been the end. He would have used Grim Transcendence and went on the offensive, and that would have been it for this run. There's no way we would survive a charged up Godfist. Junpei really came in clutch a few times. And I know I've tested my luck. I'm taking my chips out of the casino, taking a break, and coming back to this run much, much later before my luck runs out. Chapter 6. Flying Under the Moon. So, we're back after a week break. I stopped progressing this run because I got really lucky and felt like if I kept playing, my luck would run out. And also, I've been really putting something off. I have a really important decision to make. On December 31st, I can choose to kill Ryoji and get an ending. And this run would technically be complete. I don't have to fight any more shadows or take any more risks. Everyone in my party would make it out alive, forget about the Dark Hour, and we'll finally be able to take a break. That would be the end, and this run would be a success. I can cash in all my hard effort and celebrate. But no, I wouldn't be able to celebrate. We have to take on Nyx. There's no glory in a half-assed job. Thankfully for us, though, there's nothing else standing in our way. Well, there is Chidori coming up soon, but all we have to do is survive and stall 3 turns. It's not a real fight. That's a good thing, because if it was a real fight, we'd be cooked, because she's pretty strong. We essentially get these next 3 months to prepare for Nyx. And we'll also have to fight Jin and Takaya on the same day. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to prepare. Nyx will be the ultimate test. He has 14 phases that correspond to each full moon boss, with his last phase combining every single phase before that into one Giga phase. He can target every weakness and do pretty much anything. Preparing for this is a daunting task. We would need to build all of our personas for each phase and be prepared for basically every mechanic in this game. The other glaring problem is my party. Every single one of them has a weakness that Nyx can exploit. Easily. There's a way to nullify these weaknesses, but it's not available to us. We would need to max out their social links and fuse all the endgame personas, which we just can't do. We can't get any of the best armor or weapons for anyone in our party. In fact, my past attempts of fighting Nyx, I had the best equipment for everyone and the best personas in the game, and I still struggled. Legendary said the exact same thing. He said before I even started this run, and I quote, "Nyx gave me a hard time and I legitimately had everything at my disposal." He jokingly told me that my best bet would be to go for the bad ending. And you know what? He's not wrong. The more I plan for this fight, the more problems I have than solutions. And I'm starting to think that Legendary wasn't joking. But I've made up my mind. So let's just start this how we usually do and get our encounters. For November, in the first section of Horrible Block, we got Throne. In December, in second section of Horrible Block, we got Jatayu. Then our last encounter of the run in Amada is Loki. This is all we have to work with. Our next level cap is 81. I was hoping for 99 or maybe 90, but 81 will work. That's still really high and gives us so much room to get money and gems. So our priorities right now is just grinding out gems, seal cards, and money so that we can max some of our stats. As far as skill cards go, we get access to everything up to tier 12, or the Queen tier as it's called in the game. There's an additional tier of skill cards, the King tier. These aren't available until the promise date on January 31st, the same day we fight Nyx. I really don't want to try to get to the level cap on that day. It's too much pressure, so we won't go for these cards. That means we won't be able to get Drain element passives, Arms Master, Spell Master, and Enduring Soul. Enduring Soul stings the most. It revives you to full HP if you were to die, and it also stacks with Endure. Thankfully, we can still get arms and Spellmaster from the antique shop. I also need to prep my team of personas. I looked at all my possible fusions and had to make a choice here. I can only afford to make one persona. I need all of my personas to fit a different purpose. I'll need around 10 or more personas to do that. The best personas I can fuse right now are Satan and Bishamoten. I can get Satan because of a Major Arcana card that lets me fuse personas 5 levels higher than me. They both require Jatayu for the fusion, so I can only have one. Satan seems like the obvious pick, but you can't get crit amp from shuffle time. Bishamoten would be the only persona in our entire roster who can get crit amp. And this is super valuable. On the other hand, Satan has Diamond Dust, Concentrate, Debilitate, and Heat Riser. Again, none of these skills can be found in shuffle time. You can also learn Black Viper. This is such a strong move. It's like an Armageddon Light and would straight up carry us. But it has such a high XP requirement that we won't be able to unlock it without exceeding our level cap. After looking at the calculations for crits, we went with Satan. Crit rate boost and crit rate amp are additive buffs. They boost crit rates by 5% and 15% respectively. At Pupil is a multiplicative buff. It doubles the base crit rate of an attack, and At Pupil multiplies it before the additive crit rate passives. Brave Blade has a 20% crit rate, and after doing all the math, there's only a 10% difference in crit rate from going from crit boost to amp. 45% compared to 55%. For me, that's not worth giving up Concentrate, Diamond Dust, Debilitate, and Heat Riser. And I am glad I went with that choice because a few days later, after more research and planning, I found out you can actually get crit amp and a lot of other good stuff still. Legendary gave me a set of spreadsheets with data mined information, and there's one chest on floor 228 that is going to change everything for us. This chest has Heat Riser, Debilitate, Repel skills, crit amp, Almighty boost, and best of all, Enduring Soul. This is insanely good. We just have to grind the chest like we do with the eye accessories. There's also one chest on floor 204 that has Charge and Concentrate. So now that we know where we can get everything we need, it's time to gather our resources and come back with a plan. After getting everything we needed, I spent a whole afternoon planning out the personas we'll need to take on Jin, Takaya, and every Nyx phase. I had to build every single persona in my roster. They all serve different purposes, from buffing to healing to dealing with certain phases. Nyx has only a few moves she can use each phase. I have a spreadsheet that shows every possible move for each phase. I studied this all day. I built a persona for each phase that resists the phase's attacks and can do the most Avesha type of damage for that phase. I had to reuse some personas for multiple phases. I just don't have enough slots. So because of that, I had to make some sacrifices, essentially lowering our DPS so that we don't insta-die. I had to get rid of things like single target boost and slash boost. I know it hurts. It even hurts me to just say out loud, but I did what I had to do. The fight is pretty long. If I remember, it took me anywhere between 20 to 40 minutes. And right now, my biggest worry is SP. I can't use any items in battle, including SP items. Oracle can recover SP, but it's the most inconsistent theory to trigger. So I even built a stall persona who can siphon SP and rebuild our SP if needed. I was able to build some personas to cover every phase, but I quite literally have nothing for the Hanged Man phase and his final Giga phase, Death. I mean, look at this list of attacks. There's no persona that can deal with everything on the list. Maybe Messiah, but Nyx still has a bunch of almighty moves. Not to mention Apocalypse and Night Queen. If you don't know what these attacks do, you'll be in for a good surprise. This is so scuffed. Looking at my notes right now, and after hours of planning, next to the Hanged Man and Death, I wrote down, maybe use Throne or Satan, then pray for Theurges, question mark. Oh, this is so scuffed. We're gonna get so cooked. As far as equipment, this is the best we can get. Everyone has Fallen Noble armor except for Aegis. This armor nullifies most status effects. We need this for the Hierophant lovers and Nyx's final phase. We have the best basic suits from the police station, and I've spread around some accessories. Most of them are eye accessories we got earlier, along with the Earrings of Grit and the Phoenix Charm. The Phoenix Charm gives Enduring Soul. I got this from placing first in my exams in December. I'll move this charm around depending on the fight. But really, all that's left now is to get to the promised day and fight.
Hey, you're not supposed to be here. Oh, wait. Oh no, don't say it. Was it a Tartarus Guardian? Or even worse, was it a random shadow?
What? No way, dude. I just needed a break before going in for the final fight.
Didn't know you can just show up here whenever you wanted, but okay.
That's not important. It's just that I have to win these fights. I'm so close to the end, and I don't think I have it in me to do this all over again. Plus, I'm running out of ways to show the viewers how my attempts went. I already did a summary and a montage. I can't do another montage. It'll get old pretty fast.
What are you trying to say?
What I'm saying is, this is my last attempt. Win or lose, this is the end. Whatever happens here is final. You can't burn under the full moon. The final chapter. Before we can even attempt next, we have to defeat Jin and Takaya again. Jin and Takaya have a huge move list. They can target every element, so there isn't really an ideal safe party to bring. But we have access to all of Tartarus, so we're able to farm theurgies before the fights, giving us a decent advantage for each fight. I've also made a buff set on our team, who will open every fight with. They have auto party-wide buffs and every anti-master skill. For Jin, I decided to bring Junpei, Koromaru, and Ken. Even though Jin can target every weakness, he's pretty predictable. I've watched about an hour or so of people fighting Jin and Takaya, and I learned some really important stuff. Jin can use light and dark skills, but he prefers the other elements for some reason. I think it's because his other elements are of a higher tier of damage like Garudyne. Regardless, Ken and Koromaru should be pretty safe. We just have to worry about Junpei. Ken and Koromaru will focus on supporting the entire team through Heat Riser, Debilitate, Charge, and Barriers, while Junpei and Makoto focus on damage. Ken's barriers are super important since it's our only way to stop Jin from targeting weaknesses. Without it, he can wipe our whole party pretty easily. We all have armor that nullifies ailments, so we're all safe from his Confuse Grenade except for Koromaru, since he can't wear the armor. Our setup is very good. Junpei and Makoto are hitting for huge numbers, while the rest of the team is ensuring that we're all safe from one-shots and long one-more chains. After Jin is low enough, he'll heal himself up to full HP, and we'll start hitting really hard. The good news is, he'll die in 3 turns no matter what we do, so we can focus completely on defense. Then all we have to do is wait the fight out until his last turn, where we go in with one final attack to defeat Jin. Takaya won't be as simple. His fight is less forgiving than Jin's. Besides his insane obsession with insta-kill attacks, he will drain all of our SP during the fight. For this fight, I brought a team surrounded around physical attacks. This team is risky because we don't have a party-wide healer. Makoto can heal, but I'd have to pull out my Pixie. Her stats are pretty bad on top of her just being a level 5, so that can end badly if I'm not careful. Just like Jin, Takaya has an insanely long move list and can target every weaknesses. But he's just as predictable. Takaya loves to use insta-kill attacks. Even if he can target a weakness, most of the time he'll just use a dark insta-kill attack anyways. Hence why Koromaru is here. I'm also using Throne who nullifies dark. He does insta-kill Junpei pretty early on, but we gave him the Phoenix Charm so he survived it. To make this fight go smoothly, Koromaru will charge the entire party before going for their attacks and theurgies. Takaya also has hidden phases. We can only lower Takaya's health by 1/3 at most each turn. Any more attacks will do virtually no damage. This is so he can monologue and do some scripted attacks. When we know we've hit the HP limit, this is when we use heals, debuffs, and buffs. Revolution is pretty safe to use here. He can use Brave Blade, but again, for some reason it's really rare. He'll just stick to his dark attacks like 80% of the time. At his last phase, we have to be very defensive. Use a theurgy that can easily wipe the party if you're not ready for it. There's also no warning or way to know about this attack unless you've seen it before. For that reason, we need to stack debuffs on him while buffing everyone in the whole party. Makoto and Junpei have no SP at this point, so we can't buff ourselves at all. This is why we stack buffs on top of each other much earlier, so that we have some time left on the buffs after we lose all our SP. Thankfully, Koromaru still does have SP. If he didn't, we wouldn't be able to use Debilitate on Takaya, and this theurgy would definitely end this fight. The theurgy also applies Fear, which affects Koromaru. We have no way to remove it, but Oracle charges up the whole party and we combine that with Junpei's theurgy to finish Takaya. It's finally time for Nyx. We brought Junpei, Yukari, and Ken. Ken will be the core of the composition. His theurgy can full heal the party and give everyone Makara-Karn and Tetrakarn. It's very strong. This being the core of our strategy can be a problem though, because his theurgy also resurrects allies. This is completely against the rules. So if any party member dies, we can't use his theurgy anymore and our plan completely falls apart and we're fucked. Which is why we brought Yukari, to make sure everyone is at full HP at all times. Between Ken and Yukari, no one should die. Probably. Junpei and Makoto should be able to deal with massive amounts of damage with their crits. We'll struggle a lot with the phases that resist physical though. For the first two phases, the persona we picked out is Throne. He has the highest DPS out of all of our personas and can resist fire. Fire will be Nyx's first attack. Normally at the beginning of this fight, we'll apply buffs because he can't attack during the full phase, but we already have all our buffs applied thanks to our auto skills. Throughout the entire fight, I'm keeping a close eye on all of Nyx's skills so that I can put up barriers or guard any time he can target a party member's weakness. At the Priestess phase, I realized something terrible.
How did he get frozen? What the f? You shouldn't have been able to get frozen. Did I not put the right armor on? Oh my god. I'm a little worried now.
I don't have Unshaken Will and Makoto. I don't know, I must have swapped out his armor earlier by accident or something. So he's going to be susceptible to ailments for the entire fight. When Makoto is frozen, Junpei was able to take out the Priestess phase. The Empress will mostly use Garudyne, so it's important for us to protect Junpei during this phase. Once we defeat her, the Emperor phase is next. We've been sitting on our party-wide concentrate until now. Nyx will also start using her sword here and in every future phase. For that reason, every persona I've assigned to each phase from here on out has Repel Slash, while Ken will have Tetrakarn up on everyone else. The Emperor takes us a while to get through. I'm using a Giri that has an electric build that isn't the best, but thanks to Tetrakarn, Nyx pretty much defeats herself this phase.
This is gonna be bad. Oh wait. Oh my god. Okay. That's beautiful.
Now comes the Hierophant and Lovers, status ailment hell. The whole party can resist ailments but Makoto. This is pretty scary, but I've given all of Makoto's personas a lead dance. This reduces hit rate by 50% on top of whatever the hell we get from our boots. So Makoto never gets affected and we're able to get through both the Hierophant and the Lovers mostly unscathed. As far as the buffs we're using Heat Riser and Marikakaja. When barriers are down, Marikakaja is the only thing standing between us and the game over. I'm avoiding Debilitate since it wears off every time Nyx Arcana shifts, and we really need to save SP for this long ass fight. Chariot is up next and he knows all physical attacks. This is going to be a longer phase for us. He'll also primarily use physical skills that hit very hard, so Ken will be putting up barriers for that. We bring out Giri again since he repels Slash, and Strike, plus has an electric build. We do have all our theurgies and could end the phase pretty quickly, but there are much scarier phases coming up that we need to worry about. Justice phase is here, and this whole phase is about light insta-kill attacks. So I swapped the Throne to survive it, but with a charged up crit, we take out Justice pretty quickly. Hermit is next, and he hits very hard. He has the strongest magic attacks out of all the phases, so we pull out Junpei's theurgy for this phase. Yukari can get one-tapped here, even with debuffs and buffs, so we make sure she has a barrier up to act freely. We pull out Yamato and Orochi for this phase because of their no electric passive, and safely finish off the Hermit phase. Before we phase him though, we put up barriers. Fortune is going to rip through our party if we're not careful. They can use Inferno, Phanta Ray, Thunder Rain, and Diamond Dust, all of which are extremely strong and can be used to target Yukari and Junpei's weaknesses. I am terrified of this phase.
This is gonna be really bad. It missed? Thank God.
2 charged up Brave Blades later and we're onto the Strength phase. The boss that took out my entire party last run. The scariest part of this phase is Mobius Rondo. It's a baby Hasatobi. It hits the whole party multiple times with a decent chance to crit. Our barriers suck up the first Mobius Rondo though. This is a phase where we need to use our magic attacks, so it takes us really long to get through it, but we make it. Now onto the really scary shit, the Hanged Man.
Okay, so this is Hanged Man, which is scary as fuck. Okay. Let's get everyone up to full HP. There goes Grim Transcendence. Oh my god. God's hand. Thank God. Thank God. No way. Wow, that was really freaking lucky.
Hanged Man is buffed up and charged and focused up too. That can end this fight very quickly. This is what we've been banking our charge and Junpei theurgy for. This let us bypass Hanged Man and move on to the end, the death phase.
Off rip, everyone's getting full healed. We're gonna have oh shit. There goes Apocalypse. Oh my god, that's so scary.
Her first move is Apocalypse, which gets everyone down to just about 1 HP. I want to heal up immediately, but Makoto is the only party member that can use Debilitate, an absolute must if we're going to survive any attacks.
What if he acts in between us? No, we should be fine. That's not going to happen.
We use Ken's theurgy to heal everyone up and put up barriers. The barriers aren't as useful this phase since Nyx loves almighty attacks and are unaffected by barriers. Nyx has high defense here too, so it's hard to crit her or even do more than 300 damage at a time. She'll take reduced damage from everything except almighty. Satan has been our persona for this entire fight that uses Debilitate and Concentrate, but I also gave them Mega Delaun for this phase. Junpei can't attack as often here since Nyx keeps removing our defense buff. In fact, we haven't had the chance to go on the offensive much at all this phase. But that doesn't matter since Nyx is defeating herself for us.
Oh, that never gets old, man. Literally never gets old.
If it wasn't for the barriers, I think we would have been stuck in this loop forever, where we heal, debuff, and buff, then Nyx undoes it all, and we go back and forth until we run out of SP, and the run is over. Nyx will also put up her own barriers, so I use Makoto to break them since he has personas that can reflect slash. Oracle comes through with a party-wide Heat Riser. Junpei finally gets to attack, but we're doing barely any damage, while Nyx nearly takes out the core of our team.
Oh my god. Okay, no.
I told you, Mobius Rondo's a problem. Thankfully, Nyx doesn't follow up with the second attack on Ken. Next, she pulls out Terror Spark, and that almost kills Yukari too. It only doesn't kill her because we are constantly putting up Mariko Kaja and Debilitate. Each turn, Nyx is reversing it, but we're always reapplying it. This is why we're barely making any progress towards lowering her health. This phase is dragging on forever, and the longer we fight her, the less likely we are to complete this fight. She uses Apocalypse again, but we use Ken's theurgy to heal up. The fight is coming to an end. Junpei finally has his theurgy along with charge. This could be it. We can end this fight right here and right now. But Nyx has Tetrakarn up. I sit there and think, but I can't remember if theurgies will go through Tetrakarn or not. All Junpei needs to do now is pull the trigger and this is over. But I can't find the answer. If I fuck this up and theurgies don't go through Tetrakarn, Junpei will die. We can't use any more of Ken's theurgies, and we have no Mariko Kaja. We'll quickly get overrun and be done for. As much as I wanted to, I didn't take the risk, and guarded instead. I break Tetrakarn next turn with Makoto, and then use the theurgy. It barely did any damage, but that doesn't matter, because Nyx uses Sunder next.
Oh my god, that's so silly.
I didn't think we'd make it this far. This was an incredibly ambitious run for me, and I was really stretching myself to try and complete it. I genuinely didn't think we'd be able to finish it. I thought I would waste a few months on this, trying to get it done, never complete it, and then just try to make a video out of this. I made a lot of parallels between this run and Icarus' story. I did this because I thought I wasn't going to finish it. I thought I was going to be doing something new and telling a story about my failure, about me flying too close to the sun, burning up, and somehow making a lesson out of it. Something like, things don't always work out the way you want, it's the journey that matters, or some other bullshit, but I've always played it safe in everything I do, and rarely take big risks in important things in life. And I think that stopped me from really being the best me that I can be. But after completing this run, I'm 100% convinced that Icarus' story is bullshit. There's no such thing as too much ambition. There's no limit to your ability. You can achieve anything you want. Anyone who tells you otherwise is talking through the lenses of their own insecurity. So fly high. Fly as high as you want, because you deserve to give yourself a chance to prove to yourself that you can achieve anything you want. Just make sure if you're flying really high, you don't do it under the blazing sun, and you do it under the full moon instead. Thank you for joining me today. It was great having you, but like all good things, our time has come to an end. This doesn't have to be the end though. I stream these runs live on Twitch, so if you'd like to see my real-time decision making and see how all these fights play out for these runs, consider going into the description and following me on Twitch so you don't miss it. There will be more videos, more stories, more projects, and I hope to see you there. I made this video with some extra love for those of you who have been here since the beginning of this channel supporting me. This year has been life-changing for me, and it's been amazing sharing this experience with all of you. I'm Eldian Devil, but you, my friend, can just call me Devil. You're worthy, you're beautiful, and I'll catch you next time.
光の粒まどろむ君に注ぐ忘れ